then tomorrow on Wednesday's class we would just do the in-class assignment and the quiz. So, more of the same. Look at this problem. Cosine of angle is equal to something. They want you to back calculate and find the angle that it happened at. Same question, except this time they don't give you, don't use your calculator, they give you a decimal question, right? This is real life. In the blood splatter analysis that we do, we'll have 2 problems where you'll be able to guess the answer perfectly. And that's where I drop the thing straight down, because that's the angle it fell from. That would be like if you have a nosebleed and it falls straight down on the ground. That one's going to be a perfect angle, and I think maybe one other will be a perfect angle. The rest of it will all be these decimal answers. So they gave you a decimal, and they gave you this weird question, weird posed question. I know what they want, but I'm not sure what they want in the boxes. I'll show you what they want. Steps are still the same. What I want to get after is I want this angle on the inside, right? So I will need to undo this cosine. I have no unit circle to work with anymore, but I'm going to cosine inverse both sides so I can undo this cosine and get at that x, because the x is what I want. So I'm going to hit both sides with a cosine inverse. So that's the shift blue thing that's on your calculator. So now, what happens to the cosine inverse and cosine? Cancel each other out. So that's gone. So I reduce and I get x is equal to cosine inverse of this thing. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. We just put in cosine inverse of minus 0.885. I think it says radians. It doesn't, but assume it does. Punch that out on the calculator. I didn't have the calculator sitting next to me when I was doing this, and it's cold and I don't like to move. So I sat at my computer and I used Maple, which is a calculator. They have a calculator on there, and I get this. On my calculator, it's arc cosine. It says arc. If you have a scientific calculator, you might have a cosine or arc cosine instead of cosine inverse. Same thing. And I just arc cosine the minus 0.885, and I got 2.657, something like that. So there's my answer. I highlight it here, which you probably can't see in the back, but if you're rewatching this on video when you're doing your homework, you'll see where it's coming from. So I get cosine inverse is 2.657, whatever that number is, from the calculator. You got something like that? Okay, good. So that's my angle. I was supposed to back calculate the angle. I back calculated the angle. But now they have this other weird question. They have 2 boxes. What goes in the other box? I'm not quite sure, because they've asked it in a weird way. But what they want from you, I understand what they want from you. They want you to recognize the fact that if you have an answer right here, you're going to have cosines the x coordinate. You're also going to have the same answer in another region, right? Because we always get 2. What region will that be? Well, that region is going to be in this section over here, because the cosine's negative there, and you're going to have another cosine that's exactly the same right underneath it that's negative underneath it. Does that make sense? So my second answer, how do I get to my second answer? Well, I have to take my first answer and add 90 degrees to it, because it's a 90 look at this. I get a minus 1/2 over here, and 90 degrees later, I get another minus 1/2. You see that? So all I have to do is take my weird answer, which was 2.65. How did I know 2.65 was there? Well, I knew 2.65 was there because right at pi over 2, pi over 2 is about 1.5, right? Because pi is about 3. 3 divided by 2 is around 1.5. So 2.6 is bigger than 1.5. But over at pi is 3.14 something, right? So that's 3. So in between pi over 2 and pi lies my 2 point whatever. So I know that it's in that region. And I know I have to add by pi over 2 to get to the next one. So I take my answer and add pi over 2 to it. That's the angle I got. To get the second answer, I take that angle and add pi over 2. So I have to think to get that second answer. And they have several in the Webassign that are with the boxes. I don't care what you put in the boxes. I just want those 2 answers. They really just want those 2 answers. They have just no way to get you to answer those 2 answers. I would have just said, give me the 2 answers. You got 2 answers, give me the 2 answers. But they have it written in a funny way. So that's what they want. They just want those. It's because it's a computer, right? It has no way to... They're limited by how they can ask you the question. Think about how much is behind that. So I think somebody in here is in computer science. There's a lot behind that, right, to make something like this. Here's another one. Same thing. You know what, I think that's it. I just want to stop there. That's enough. So on Wednesday's class, I'll finish up 4 more questions. That's all I have. It's actually a lot. You're learning a lot. I don't know if you feel it, but you're taking a lot of volume, and we're kind of like siphoning down and doing only the important things.